seated. And we will start with our very first mudra, prana mudra. Prana, meaning energy, right? Like our pranayama. We will be evoking a sense of vitality so we can feel replenished, nurtured, and nourished by our practice, invigorating our life force energy, and with each breath, feeling the nourishing and uplifting energy. There is a note, palms down can feel more grounding, and palms up can be more receptive of energy. So our prana mudra, 2 fingers, both hands do the same thing. Sort of like if we're going to do bunny ears on somebody in a photo, that kind of idea. Also called our life force gesture. If we would like an affirmation, our suggestion is, as I practice this mudra, I am aware that my life is firm and grounded. My patience is infinite. So we'll begin with our typical 3 to 5 minutes of breath and introspection. Remembering we can release the mudra and relax our hands at any moment. Option to close our eyes. And our suggested breath is our ujjayi breath. But feel free to choose a breath practice that makes sense for you today. We might like the feeling of starting fresh before we dive in, inhaling through the nose, exhaling through the mouth, letting out a sigh or a kind of emptying breath. And then diving into our ujjayi breath, focusing on our prana mudra, feeling vital and energized. Bringing awareness to the sensation in our hands. Seeing if we can sense vitality and energy radiating from the fingertips up the arms and throughout the rest of the body. Inviting in a sense of wakefulness. I'll read our affirmation one more time. As I practice this mudra, I am aware that my life is firm and grounded. My patience is infinite. We're evoking a sense of vitality so we can feel replenished, nurtured, nourished, invigorated, uplifted, and grounded. Noticing our spine is long, feeling stretched between earth and sky. We may have an intention for our practice together, taking a moment to set it here now. Let's begin in a more energized breath. Can we breathe 10% more fully? Maybe picking up the pace a little. Sitting a little taller. Opening our eyes here. Let's begin with some wrist circles. Nice and easy. We've brought awareness to our hands, circling one way and the other. It may also be beneficial to do just a basic wrist stretch, as we often do, palms up, and then using one hand to stretch the other. Breathing fully, again, noticing the energy in the fingertips, feeling what's going on there. Maybe we're feeling a little chilly in our hands today. hopefully we'll get some circulation going, get our hands moving. Let's come back to Prana Mudra for just a moment, because I think it helps with our next stretch. So it's typical in a yoga class to start squeezing shoulders up to ears, sliding shoulders down our backs, coming to Prana Mudra. So our thumb holds our ring finger and our pinky down. And since we're extending our first finger and our middle finger, let's add this to our neck stretch. So if we're not super coordinated, we'll just stretch both hands down. And then we're taking ear to shoulder one way. So if I'm taking right ear to right shoulder, I'm extending more on the left hand down to get some length on this side. So we're working in opposite directions, drawing dynamic tension out through the fingertips. Let's try it on the other side. We're coming back through center. Ear to shoulder, left to left, and then the right hand reaches away. So if we just had our hands down, we might not feel that same sort of extended vitality. And no, we don't need to do both hands. We could just do one if our rights and lefts are making sense today. We'll come back through center. Might feel good to do some shoulder rolls. And then with gentle fingertips, alternating lateral flexion, side to side. Let's inhale one arm up, inhaling to lengthen, and exhaling, draw from our core, coming back through center. So we're lengthening the side of the ribs on our inhale and strengthening the side of the waist on our exhale. Flowing a few times here at our own perfect pace. You know how it goes. Once more each way. Coming back through center. Let's make our way to child's pose. In our child's pose, we can use this as an opportunity to, again, invigorate our hands. So we're starfishing our fingers. A familiar pose, but instead of thinking starfishing dynamic tension, let's think starfishing our fingers subtle body energy. Do we notice an impact on our emotional state or our energy? We learned about the brain a little bit this morning. Do we feel some sort of connection with our concentration or focus? And we know we can rest in child's at any point, but let's hold this energy in the palms as we come to all fours, making our way through cat and cow. And I think today in this group, we are quite familiar with cat and cow. Let's flow in our own favorite way, making our spines the shape of a rainbow, and then the letter U. Pressing into each finger knuckle and each fingerprint and our thumbprint, bringing awareness to the entire length of the hand, not just the heel of the hand. Coming back to all fours, warming up rotation of the spine. Let's do our all fours twists. I don't know how many of us have done this before. So let's press down with the left hand, solid anchor through the left, and then we are twisting, opening right hand to sky. And it's a flowing thread the needle. So we inhale to reach our hands away from one another, growing long, and then exhale to pull the belly tight, thread the needle through. And that's our movement, flowing up, inhale, flowing down, exhale. And often we begin our subtle body work with movements of the spine because we're waking up the spine, right? We're waking up our chakra system. That's our Kundalini energy. Next time we're at the top, let's pause in this open position and once more come into Prana Mudra, full breath in, using an expanding breath here. Back through all fours, and we're ready for the other side. Rooting down through the right hand, feeling strong, and we're ready to lift up. Inhaling to open, reaching in opposite directions, and then exhaling to thread the needle. So we can bring awareness to our spines here. Feeling rotation, crown of the head to the tailbone. Waking up our subtle energy body. Next time we're open, let's pause in the open position. Option for our Prana Mudra once more. Inhaling expansion. We're coming back through center in all fours, yogi's choice, child's, or downward facing dog. If we're in down dog, of course, we can pedal out the heels, we can wag our tail. If we're in child's, we can be resting the forehead, turning the head side to side, or shaking the hips off side to side. And I will give us options today to build a lot of heat through the upper body since it is relatively cool where everyone is. So let's do our half series prep or our yogi push-up flow. Coming into a kneeling plank, we lower down. Maybe we're warming up just our microscopic baby push-up, and then we're pressing back to child's. Let's flow through here. Inhaling forward, we use that exhale, drawing in our core. We talked a little bit about Mula Bandha and Uddiyana Bandha this morning. Old favorites that we can keep coming back to for good reason. And remembering our form starts with whatever is touching the mat. And today our focus is on our hands, keeping those starfish hands, vitality in the fingers. Lengthening out, imagining each finger growing longer. We can give it one or two more here, depending on how much upper body strength we're going for today. Knowing that our intention and our hand position, of course, helps bring awareness to whatever we're working on, right? And come back to our intention at any time. Option here for a wrist stretch. We already went this way. Let's see if we can go the other way. So like we're showing off a beautiful diamond ring and then drawing the fingers towards ourselves to stretch the other side of the wrist and the forearm. Might like to make a fist as well. That can add a little intensity. Often we get really tight in here because of how many planks and down dogs and all fours positions we hold. Okay, let's do the other side. Beautiful diamond ring. And then drawing the fingers in. Fist or a flat hand. And we'll start to make our way to standing. So as we come through child's, down dog, and forward fold, noticing how that wrist stretch landed on our hands, that might be a nice one for you. And when we're ready, reversing our swan dive and resetting with our circle sweeps. And let's bring in Anjali Mudra. So our Anjali is prayer hands with the fingers spread. And this helps us with our introspection. We are turning inward. Okay, next time our hands come to heart, let's take a seat down and back into chair pose. Flowing through our chair pose here. So we're using Anjali to remind ourselves we are in the world of introspection today, aren't we? We are turning our attention inward. We are mindfully choosing pose variation and mudra variations that work for each of us in our own unique bodies, in our own unique moment here today. Let's do one more. We'll pause at the bottom. Opportunity to wiggle our toes. Settle into our feet. Coming back to mountain. And from the top edge of our mat, we're stepping back for sunflowers and moonflowers. Option to hold here as we go through our regular sun and moon. Maybe we would like a more quiet, introspective practice today with our Anjali Mudra. Or maybe we are waking ourselves up with our Prana Mudra again. Or maybe our hands just need a rest as we move through sunflowers and moonflowers. We could have our starfish fingers or more gentle hands. We'll give it a few more. We know we can alternate back and forth between sun and moon, picking our favorite or the one we find most beneficial here today. And then when we're ready, bringing hands back to heart, Anjali Mudra, and stepping to the top of our mats. So we're going to keep with this theme of Anjali, holding at heart center, reminding ourselves that we can use our sun salutations as an opportunity for self-care and introspection, choosing a fiery variation or maybe a more grounded, earthy variation. Our sun salutations. I'll lead us through a couple and then you can find your own way. Let's inhale, circle, sweep arms to sky. Exhaling, swan diving, forward fold. Releasing the weight of our head, gentle through the neck muscles. Let's step the right foot back for our kneeling lunge. Again, option for hands at heart in our Anjali Mudra. Taking hands down, let's make our way back to child's and flow through our half series here. We're taking our right foot forward. Option to use blocks or any other props, or again, bring hands to heart. Stepping our back foot in to meet our right, reversing our swan dive, sitting down and back into chair. Okay, let's do another modified one on the other side. So this time we're on the left foot back into our kneeling lunge, Anjali Mudra. Choosing to rest or flow through our half series. Left foot forward. Bringing hands to heart, tuning into the rhythm of our own hearts today. Stepping forward, forward fold. Bend in the knees. Let's not forget our spa principles as we reverse our swan dive and take a seat into chair. Okay, let's go a couple more here. Yogi's choice, we can keep it modified or not. We can bring hands to heart for Anjali Mudra, or maybe we're feeling a bit more conventional. We want to bring them overhead or keep them to the mat. So we do have this theme of looking inward, introspection with Anjali, and we can incorporate this into our sun salutations, being more inner looking, introspective. We have a note in our masterclass script that this Anjali Mudra helps us to be more in alignment with nature, our own nature, and our authentic selves. Whenever we get back to the top of the mat, we can flow through chair pose again. So we'll finish off this last round of sun salutations and we can get back to the top of the mat. We're flowing through chair, although maybe this time we'd like to add chest expansion. Do we feel a little bit more cactusy? We want to open our hearts, especially if we've been feeling cold and kind of crunched in. Chair flow with heart opener might be what's in store for us today. And we're probably all here by now. So let's come into mountain and we'll add chest expansion. We'll use a different kind of gesture, give ourselves a thumbs up, feeling positive, and then we'll use our thumbs as a landmark to draw our thumbs towards the wall behind us. For our chest expansion, we're squeezing the back of the shoulders to help stretch our pecs and the front of the shoulders. And we'll use our chest expansion to help take us down to the mat. So yogi's choice, we can have hands to sacrum, fist to sacrum, pulling elbows together. We can lift our hearts. We may like to interlace or work towards interlacing, still squeezing the back of the body. But if we would like to add this to our forward fold, that's another option here. Maybe taking feet a little bit, a wide mountain, a broad base, hip hinging, and then we can let belly rest on thighs, choosing as deep of a knee bend as we would like here today to feel solid and secure. And then we're all meeting at the bottom of a forward fold. We can release our hands and our classic yoga fit, shaking our heads no, nodding our heads yes.
Always ending on a positive note. All right, we're stepping back to down dog or child's. As always, we can rest or flow through our half series. And then we're coming into a kneeling lunge. As we're ready to do so, taking our right foot forward into our kneeling lunge. And we will add, oh yes, our Kali Mudra, one of my favorites. Everybody was having a brat summer, and I thought, no, I'm ready for Kali Mudra. One of my teachers taught me, she's bad. She's a bad bee. So if we ever see Kali out there in the world, she's often sticking her tongue out. She's got this ferociousness. We're going to bring some ferociousness into our kneeling lunge with our Kali Mudra or our Charlie's Angels or our Yogi Gun, it's sometimes called. Option to hold hands at heart or to reach overhead, extending and lengthening. Always, we know if we're not comfortable in our kneeling lunge, but we're comfortable in more of a split position, like a Tai Chi stance or a high lunge, all good, we can go there. Let's slice and twist. So we inhale at the top and then we exhale, bringing hands across to the opposite side of the body, inhaling up and exhaling down. Getting some cross body work, working both hemispheres of the brain. This is our last one to the top. Let's take both hands down to frame our front foot. We're stepping back, child's or down dog, yogi's choice. We rest or flow. Repeating on the other side. Let's take left foot forward for our Kali Mudra, interlacing our fingers. Bringing my hands into this mudra, I feel steadfast and unshakable in pursuit of my truth. So I always feel like I draw upon the energy of Kali when I kind of like need someone to go to bat for me, but I have to do it myself. I bring that Kali energy in. If you've ever seen the goddess Kali, she often has a necklace made of skulls. I like that energy. All right, let's twist. Inhaling to the top, exhaling, twisting our kneeling lunge. Okay, third slice, our last slice down. We're coming back overhead. Are we feeling fierce? Well, let's take our hands down on either side of our foot. Yogi's choice, we rest or flow. Okay, let's keep that fierceness of Kali as we come through our side lunge. Let's start kneeling. So if we are in down dog, we're going to take our right knee forward, and then we're rotating open into our kneeling side lunge. Our left hand is free to reach up. And I don't know if anyone has been feeling really tight lately. We can add our chest expansion here if we would like, reaching our top arm back to our same or opposite back pocket. We may like to lift our free leg. We may like to do a variation of a quad stretch here, bending and reaching fingertips toward ankle. Grabbing our pant leg or whatever's back there, but giving us that chest expansion variation, sort of adding a quad stretch or dancer's variation to our kneeling lunge. All right, let's take our hands down. Option to move through all fours or reset in down dog, dropping left knee, under left hip, rotating open. So we got this great kickstand, wrist under shoulder. We probably know how to do a side lunge, but it's good to double check. We get a stretch for the outside of the ankle if our foot stays down. We get strength for the outside of the hip if our foot stays up. We can add our chest expansion just like we did standing, taking our fist to the back of the sacrum. And if we would like to add our quad stretch and chest expansion variation, moving in the direction of dancer's pose in our side lunge, of course we can. Moving in all sorts of directions. And I'll give us the option to go once more on each side. So I've given us lots of options here in our side plank, but if we would like to do it not kneeling, we can start from downward facing dog, keeping the hips high as we're rolling onto the edges of the feet and opening in our side plank. Whichever variation of side plank we choose, can we keep that fierceness of Kali Mudra. Let's do one more round of breath here, and our exhale will bring us back to reset in down dog or all fours. And we're on the second side. Rotating open, heart center shining towards the side wall. Maybe we're picturing the muscles of the back and core hugging in to support our chakra system. One more round of breath here. Exhale brings us back down. We can reset, and once more, option to rest or flow through our crocodile, half series, yogi push-up, whatever we like to call it. And then we're making our way up to standing. Nice. Okay. So let's lift the right leg to create space. We're taking our right foot between our hands, making our way into warrior one. We're coming into Kali. Let's work with the idea of opposite energy. So we have this fierceness. We can hold it at heart center. We can reach it overhead, pausing in our warrior one, feeling strong. Asks us to take up a lot of space, and also I think to be vulnerable. We're kind of showing our underarms, our chest is lifted, our belly is unprotected, but we have this fierce energy from Kali. As we're pivoting open to warrior two, let's bring hips and shoulders with us, maybe making more space between our front and back leg. Our warrior two arms, we can add our wisdom mudra. So we take our thumb and first finger together. We've probably seen this in lots of meditation practices, right? Our wisdom gesture says, I can see my life's path revealing itself to me. So we don't always need to be fierce and fighting. Sometimes we can be wise, and we know our life's path is being revealed to us. All right, let's go ahead and release hands to hips, giving our hands a break, straightening our front leg. We are ready for our triangle pose. We might need to loosen up the hips a little bit, do a little hip shift, feeling out right inner thigh. And as we're ready, reaching forward into triangle pose. Option for our block, of course, underneath our hands. Instead of seeing our props as a crutch, how about if we see our props as a way to bring more awareness to our hands today, feeling the different texture from one hand to the other? Maybe we still like our wisdom gesture in our hand that's reaching overhead. Maybe asking for wisdom to come down to us from a divine source. And we'll make our way through straddle, wide-legged straddle. So let's take hands to the long edge of the mat. We are pivoting through our wide-legged straddle fold, coming straight up to the other side, resetting in warrior one. Okay, our energy of opposites, warrior one. Left foot is our new front foot, Kali Mudra. Option to bring it overhead, feeling fierce and strong. What was our affirmation? Yes, feeling steadfast and unshakable in pursuit of my truth. As we're opening into warrior two, coming into wisdom gesture, thumb and first finger together, palms down, we can see our life's path being revealed to us. No more need for fierceness. Can we be a gentle warrior? Opportunity to let our hands rest on our hips, straightening our front leg, prepping for triangle, shifting our hips. So we have our tailbone straight down and then back on an angle. Kind of getting into sacral chakra here. Opening up through low belly. Let's set our hips for triangle. We're stretching as far forward as we can, keeping this height and length as we come into triangle. If we're using a prop, a block,
feeling the energy that the block provides to the pose. And if our hand is on our leg or the mat, the same idea. What information are we getting in through our hands, building our sensory acuity? We can come back into our wisdom mudra overhead if we like, taking our eyes to it, picturing ourselves doing this pose in a very wise manner. Our next exhale can bring us down into our wide-legged forward fold, getting our little breather. Maybe we like to bring our block with us to help us do our wide-legged forward fold with it. And if we have our block, we may like it again in a moment, so we can put it back to the original top of our mats, pivoting our feet, picking up our heels and toes as we need to. Stepping back, yogi's choice, we rest or flow. Okay, let's work our brain in a different direction. We're going to start on the left side this time. Let's inhale, lifting left to create space. Stepping our left foot forward into warrior one. As we're climbing up into warrior one, Ganesha mudra, remover of obstacles. So we've clasped our fingers, kind of like we're looking very composed to sing in a choir or something. Let's do it this way. So since our left foot is in front, let's take our left hand on top. Our left hand is usually related left side of the body, our feminine energy. And we allow Ganesha to remove obstacles from our path. How does it feel to know that we have someone on our side working for us so that our journey can be easier? We can bring Ganesha with us as we open into warrior two, stepping back. Nothing too fancy here in warrior two. We release our clasp, stretching our arms longer. Let's make our way into half moon balance. So we come into reverse warrior, left arm up, full breath in, and we can use our exhale to contract our abdominals as we're coming down, left hand down to mat, block, or shin as we are lifting up and flying in our half moon balance. So we know our obstacles have been removed. This pose is easy now. We do the work, but it's not too tough. Okay, let's see how our balance is. We'll move back through warrior two to reverse warrior. Whoop. Can we trust ourselves to get back there? Reset with a full breath in, inhaling up in reverse warrior. Exhaling, we take it down to our mat, yogi's choice. We can rest or flow through our half series. We might want to readjust our block. We'll be at the top of the mat again, but we got our half moon on the other side. From downward facing dog, inhaling right leg up to create space, really pressing down to give ourselves a big hole to move our foot through. Back foot down on an angle. Done warrior one before. Ganesha mudra, this time, same hand as leg, right hand on top. We're channeling more of our masculine energy. We can actually, since we're holding this clasp, kind of pull our hands away from one another to activate the pose just in a different way. What is our affirmation? I feel opposing pulls of the obstacles I am faced with and the strength to overcome them. Right? Whenever we have an obstacle in our lives, we can think to ourselves, a worthy opponent. Opening into warrior two. Releasing for our more typical warrior hands. Maybe palms up is a little easier on our shoulders at this moment in our lives, but we know we won't be here for too long, right? Inhaling to reverse our warrior. Exhaling, half moon balance, drawing from the energy of core center. Perhaps we're picturing our chakras aligned here, radiating out perfect energy and vitality in all directions, using the energy of our chakras to stabilize here. Let's see how far we can step back our floating leg to reverse this movement through warrior two and reverse warrior. We did it. Okay, we take ourselves down to the mat, stepping back, yogi's choice. We rest or flow. Remember, we're using our mudra for introspection, taking as much rest or flow as we need here.
Okay, from downward facing dog, let's lift the right leg high to create space. We're stepping forward to lunge. Climbing up. And I'll give us the option for Kali Mudra again, bringing in this fierceness. We'll flow into warrior 3. Okay, same as we've been doing. Inhale, maybe we want to do a sharp exhale through the mouth to start fresh. Option to hold our hands here as long as it serves us. Usually we teach to come into a balance pose on an inhale to give uplift, although we may notice it's easier on an exhale to tighten our muscles. Okay, so take flight however it makes sense. We can hold our Kali Mudra at heart center, shooting forward, or perhaps we're releasing our arms, winging back. Again, thinking chest expansion, taking what we need from this pose and the energy and intention behind it. Using either an inhale or an exhale, whichever helps us step back into our lunge, challenging ourselves to get there. Resetting. Let's take it down. We know how it goes. Yogi's choice. We rest or flow. And we're on our left. Inhaling, lifting left. Lots of strength as we swing it through into our high lunge. Climbing up as needed. Okay, as we're coming into our Kali Mudra, let's think about which thumb is on top. If our right thumb is on top, we're more masculine energy. If our left thumb is on top, we're more feminine energy. Or perhaps we're thinking, if we want to activate our right brain, our left thumb is on top. So most of us are right-handed. We'll have our right thumb on top. We live in a, well, depending on how we look at it, I don't know what kind of world you live in, a right-brained world or a left-brained world. Let's pick one that goes on top. So it's opposite. Right brain, left thumb, left brain, right thumb. Does that make sense? Or masculine energy is the right side, feminine energy is the left side. Our intention, the energy of Kali and fierceness as we lift up. Warrior 3. Strong through our inner thighs. We're drawing up through Mula Bandha. Bringing the energy up through our chakras, shining out through the crown of the head. Maybe we are shooting our arms forward. Okay, we're using our inner trust as we make our way back to our standing lunge. And then we take ourselves down to the mat. Okay, Yogi's choice, we rest or flow. And we will begin to make our way to standing. So let's take a journey there that suits our needs. Maybe we're walking into forward fold and really letting belly rest on thighs again, feeling nourished and nurtured. Making our way all the way up to the top. Let's reset. A few circle sweeps through. Drawing hands to heart, we can come back to Anjali Mudra for introspection. Option to close our eyes, turn our attention inward. What is our perception at this moment? What kind of impact has this practice had on each of us? What mudras do we need at this point in our practice? Go ahead and open the eyes. We may not have answers to those questions yet. That is okay. We'll come back to our wisdom mudra later and that can guide us through. Standing, balanced pigeon. We may like our block depending on how we would like to practice it today, a wall or a chair or whatever else we need to do. It's also called standing figure 4. So we can make a number 4 or a backwards number 4 with our legs, depending on which way we're thinking of looking. We may need to take just 1 or 2 fingers to help our leg come up, ankle over knee. We can be sitting, and our manual suggests Ganesha Mudra. So if our right leg is on top, maybe we're taking our right hand on top. We can be soft with our energy, or maybe to help us be more engaged, give us a little more dynamic tension, we can gently draw the hands away from one another. Our upper body has some work here. If we need help with our balance, then our block can be a great help. And again, we're noticing how attuned are our fingers and our nerve endings today. And still we have this intention of Ganesha, removing obstacles, noticing the opposing pulls of being faced with obstacles and yet also having the strength to overcome them. To come back to standing, maybe we want to take a gentler route, letting our foot release to the mat and coming up through our forward fold. Reversing our swan dive and resetting. Okay. Our obstacles have been removed, and whatever still remains, we have the strength to overcome them. Our standing figure 4, like any obstacle in our life, is a worthy opponent, right? It wouldn't be very interesting. We'll take the same hand, so left leg, left hand. Wouldn't be very interesting to go and watch Star Wars if Darth Vader was like kind of a lousy opponent, right? He's like not very good with a lightsaber, doesn't have any magic powers. The movie's over in 5 minutes. We need a worthy opponent to bring out the best in us. Maybe that's our standing balance pigeon. Maybe that's something else in our own lives. Can we breathe steadily through this process? So we are holding our balance pose for a little while to bring our heart rate down. If we fall out, we reset. And if we're ready to release, we can come back to our forward fold. Make our way, reversing our swan dive back to standing, and I'll give us the option for a chest expansion again. We may like our thumbs up, positive affirmation, taking our thumbs to the wall behind us. So all of these options, I still like to remind us, even after all these years, it's like taking the bus. We can take the first stop, the second stop, the third stop, as we go through all these different options. Not everybody has to ride the bus to the end of the line, but if we would like to add this to our forward fold, we can. As we feel ready to release our forward fold, we can make our way back to child's, remembering, of course, that we can drink water at any point, tend to our own needs. Sometimes this subtle body work actually makes us quite dehydrated. There's something about the element of water and our subtle body. I don't know what the connection is there. It's just something that I have observed. Okay. If we would like in child's, we can come back to our prana mudra. So first 2 fingers are released and our thumb holds our ring and pinky. Remembering we can always be on our forearms, or still have the intention of replenishing our energy as we stack fists under forehead. And as we're ready to do so, we can make our way into a seated position. Now let's start with staff pose. Might feel nice to shake our legs out. We spend a lot of time focusing on our hands, and sometimes that helps us to activate the muscles and the energy of the feet. So let's flex our feet so they look like mountain pose. We don't have to overdo it, but we're aiming for mountain pose in the feet. Let's do a revolved head to knee. So again, we may like sort of our prana mudra 2 fingers to bring
our legs so they look kind of like tree pose. Our bent leg will bring us a little bit open, sort of towards the front corner of the mat. And if we're doing our revolved head to knee, often it's done, if you have ever taken a dance class, it's like a dancer's pose, that we add our lateral flexion to our hamstring stretch. Now, this may not be our favorite practice for today. In fact, we may like to use our yogi hold, so taking our 2 fingers around the toe and then capping that off to gently guide us deeper. So of course, we always have options. I don't know how much awareness we want to bring to the hands today or how much support we can gain from our hands. Wherever we are, holding for a couple more rounds of breath here. We've been doing a lot of energizing work. Can we start to slow down our breath to be more soothing? Inhaling through the nose, maybe exhaling with pursed lips. Using our core muscles to draw us back up to seated. Let's take knee to sky. We'll do a variation of an inclined plank here. I hope we are warm and ready through our chest expansion. I could even notice as we're doing our forward fold, like, oh no, it's happening. This sort of winter, Christmas stress, holiday season shape. So let's imagine we are sunning ourselves on the beach. We're miles away from any concern we have ever had. We can take our fingertips down and leave it here. We can do flat hands, fingers pointing towards the short edge of the mat or to the long edge of the mat. So hands going east to west. Okay, we can stay open. And if we want that back line strength, we can lift up into a variation of inclined plank. We're pressing down through our right heel, and we can point our left foot here. And if anyone prefers a more tabletop-y variation, yes, we can have both feet planted and we can lift, imagining that our body is a table. We are holding a delightful tray of warm holiday season beverages. I don't know what our preference is, hot chocolate or whatever else that might be. Let's lower down and we'll repeat on the other side. So we'll take right leg forward, left leg in. This may be the level of obstacle we're looking for today, right? We can have our hands down to help us with our posture. We can have our peace finger hold on our big toe. We may like to be revolved open, yes, or maybe we're using our arms to support us in some way. Thinking long lines in the body. Smooth spine, smooth through the back of the neck, extending out through the fingertips. Noticing how much tension is in our hands. And if we're really like, ooh, at 110%, let's see if we can bring it down like a dimmer switch in a fancy restaurant. That's how much tension we want in the hands. We can always shake them out or circle our wrists at any point to release that. All right, our next breath draws us upwards. We folded forward. Let's open backwards. Okay, we're going to our happy place. Maybe it's not a beach. It's a place of our choosing. We can take our hands in behind us like a second and third spine, supporting that subtle body energy system. We could take our hands flat, pressing down to open our hearts. If we would like, really digging down through the heels to lift into inclined plank, and we can point the right foot. We can have tongue to the roof of the mouth to support the strength of the neck, head in line with spine. And yes, if we like our tabletop, we could be lifted up here or have our one remaining leg straight. Okay, if our bodies and our minds start to say,
Ooh, enough. We can lower down early. If we love this one, maybe our next exhale lifts us higher. And we are, in fact, ready to release. If both feet are planted, we're in good shape for our next pose. If not, let's bring our feet inward for butterfly. Our manual suggests Kali Mudra. Coming into our Yogi Gun, we can have our hands at heart. Maybe we are approaching this pose with a lot of fierceness, a lot of strength. Or maybe we're thinking of it more that we cannot be stopped. We are unshakable in our pursuit of wisdom, achievement, inner strength, whatever that may be. What are we pursuing at this moment? And we know Kali is on our side, giving us that energy. If we like, hinging forward from our hips, of course. If we are too fierce, releasing our hands, relaxing the muscles. And then let's see where we can find softness in this pose. Allowing our bodies to release and fold forward. Full inhale, long exhale, maybe pausing after the exhale. Creating space to invite in the energy and intention of this hand position. And I always like to use our spa elements, even in these more like easy poses we don't think of, like we're kind of low-key powerlifting. Pull from the core with a hip hinge as we come back up to seated. We can shake it off. Seated twist. Starting from a cross-legged position, unless we have another favorite variation of seated twist. And let's do one that I have heard. Let's think right brain intuition. A practice to develop our intuition is don't think about it. Just let that inner teacher guide us, whether we're going one way or the other first. Don't overthink it. Seated twist. Whichever direction we want to go for it. Now, if we've never done a seated twist before, you may like a little guidance from me. So we're taking one hand across to our opposite knee, using the muscles of the trunk to twist, kind of like we're checking our blind spot. We can look over the shoulder. We're twisting far enough to get sensation, but not so far that we lose our breath. Maybe if we've really drawn our bellies tight, we feel the expansion more in the rib cage. Cool. That's what the rib cage is designed to do. On our exhale, we could twist a little further, and then we can use our next inhale to guide us back to center. We're ready for the second side, whichever way we are twisting today. We can inhale to prepare. Exhale, use the muscles of the trunk. Hand comes to opposite knee. Again, we're getting into our cross body and therefore cross brain activity. Bringing awareness to our face. And we have sort of a quiet, calm, steady facial expression. Maybe a little bit of a Mona Lisa smile. Our exhale can take us a little deeper. And our inhale can bring us back through center. Maybe that was insightful, which way we wanted to go first. Maybe not. We are ready
come into a supine position. So feel free to layer up as necessary, sweaters, socks, and so on. And then as we come into supine, if you're already down there, we're actually moving into bridge pose. So we do have our block. If you really love a supported bridge and you have a block, go for it. Otherwise, we can do any variation of bridge we know and love. Maybe we like a little more guidance in our bridge pose. We're drawing knees to chest, releasing our feet, maybe give those toes a little wiggle, placing our body weight into the front of the foot, the middle of the foot, and maybe a little bit more weight in our heels. Arms come alongside our bodies, and then we're lifting hips to sky so that our body is a diagonal line. Maybe we're using our hands to bring us up a bit higher, seeing how that feels. We can use all of our nerve endings in our fingers to help us be more aware of our glutes while we're here. Maybe our glutes are a little bit sleepy, and having our hands on our glutes actually helps us feel out that we are engaging our muscles. We could also be holding the outer edges of the mat, adding a more active chest expansion here, as though we are trying to rip or stretch our mat, pulling our hands away from one another. As we're ready to do so, we can release down from bridge, windshield wipe the legs, any other movement that we need. And then option for waterfall or a variation of upward facing leg pose. Drawing knees to chest to help set our alignment, and then releasing our legs to point to the sky. So very similar to a staff pose, but now we're on our backs. And even though we're working subtle body, like I said, we may feel dehydrated. Could be any factor. Could be you're in a dry room and you're working really hard. I don't know. But also thinking subtle body energy, we have this stirring of energy in the body. We may have some swelling in our feet. I think especially in the winter, if we're sitting still a lot, and a gentle inversion like legs up, maybe you have a wall, we want to do legs up the wall, is a great one to throw in. If our legs just feel like they're really falling away from us, we can hold our pant leg in front of the thigh or wherever it makes sense to grab. We can do it with more of a bent leg. And if we can do it comfortably without, crushing or hurting our hands in any way, there is that, I feel like it's very old fashioned at this point, to make a diamond with our first finger and our thumb and take that diamond around our sacrum to kind of hold our pelvis here. Or we can just take our hands and kind of scooch them under our glutes to provide more of a base. We just obviously don't want our body weight crushing our fingers. Now, if we love this one, we can hold here, but maybe we're ready to polish off our practice. Is there some other pose or something else that we need here? Bridge, plow, supine twist, happy baby, whatever that may be. Knowing that we have the freedom to come into that here. And then as we're ready to come into our final relaxation, coming into final relaxation. All right, a little bonus. Since I mentioned it earlier, it's not in our manual, but I did say we did a physical pose as a gesture or a seal. In level 5, we do our pond gesture. So our pond gesture is often done a more relaxing variation. We start from like a constructive rest, neutral position. Our feet are planted, knees pointed to the sky, and then our hands come to rest. So the backs of the hands come to rest on the mat just above the head. And our elbows are gently out to the side. So it depends our level of mobility, but I always think kind of like a ballet dancer. But our hands are planted. So if we would like to polish this routine off with our pond gesture or pond mudra, we can do that. And I'll throw in one more that we talked about this morning as well, if we would like to add some breath retention. So full 3-part breath inhale, pause with the lungs full. A full exhalation, pause with the lungs empty. We can stretch this pause out more to a variation of square breathing. Inhale 4, pause 4, exhale 4, pause 4. We may simply like a more gentle breath, feeling our breath coming in waves. Or to really bring our energy down and ground us, we can stretch out the breath hold after the exhalation. So inhale, maybe it's a count of 4, pause with the lungs full. Exhale for a count of 4 to 8, and then with the lungs empty, pause and hold for 4 to 8, depending on how familiar we are with breath holding. So in simple terms, full inhale, keep it gentle, pause. Muscles of the throat and neck are relaxed. Slow exhale, and then a long hold with the lungs empty. So the intention behind this breath is to soothe and ground us. If we're feeling really agitated, coming back to a more comfortable style of breathing. So if this one's not landing right, not working for us, we can breathe any other way that helps us to feel calm, centered, grounded. Turning our attention inward, noticing all the energies that we have worked on today. Our Anjali Mudra called us to turn inward toward our authentic self. It's allowed us to be in alignment with our own nature. Our Prana Mudra gave us a sense of vitality, invigoration, life force, energy, feeling nurtured, nourished, replenished, uplifted, and grounded. Our Kali Mudra brought into us a sense of fierceness, strength, being steadfast and unshakable, feeling courageous and releasing any limiting beliefs. Our Wisdom Mudra, of course, brought us wisdom, the ability to see our life's path being revealed to us, focusing our mind, calming us, finding stillness and bliss. Our Ganesha Mudra, our remover of obstacles, releasing, letting go, noticing opposing poles in our life. Our obstacles can be removed, and whatever remains, we know we have the inner power, clarity, and sense of direction to carry on. Noticing in ourselves all these different energies: Prana Mudra, Kali Mudra, Wisdom Mudra, and Ganesha Mudra. We are vital, fierce, strong, removing obstacles, and we are wise. Our Anjali Mudra, calling us to look inward. Let's use this one more time, looking inside ourselves, noticing what mudra would be useful at this moment, what kind of energy we currently need. And as we are ready to do so, we will bring ourselves up to a seated position and pause together, taking a moment in our silent meditation. Dealer's choice, yogi's choice, the mudra that we finish with here. And I'll run them all through one more time so that we don't have to use our brain power too much. We can be more intuitive, more left-brained, just feeling inward. All right, so as we come to seated, what kind of mudra would we like to finish with? Our Prana Mudra, giving us vitality. That's our sort of peace finger, bunny ears mudra. Anjali Mudra, helping us to look inward. That's our prayer hands with our fingers spread, sort of like prayer hands meets starfish hands. Kali Mudra is our yogi gun, our ferocious female energy. Our Ganesha Mudra, our remover of obstacles, where we clasp our hands. Technically, left hand on top is more of our feminine energy, right hand on top is more of our masculine energy. And then our wisdom gesture, a classic meditation hand position. Our thumb and first finger make a circle, just like our A-OK symbol, but relaxed, gentle hands. And whichever mudra we have, resting it in a position that feels natural. So maybe resting it at heart center or on our lap, whatever makes sense for each of us here today. We may like to do a full breath in and a vigorous exhale through the mouth to start fresh. scanning the body head to toe, noticing what's going on. Maybe today's practice really pushed us, was quite different. Maybe not. Having a moment of silent reflection here. Leaning in on our objective awareness, listening to our inner teacher, breathing, feeling, listening to the body, listening to the subtle body, letting go of competition, judgment, expectation, and using our mudras to stay present. Let's draw hands to heart center if they're not already there. Joining our energy together. Thank you so much for joining me here today, bringing your energy into the group. The light in me honors and recognizes the light in you. So we are one. Namaste.